Shocking truth: the US can defeat Russia in a full-scale war. The United States would completely destroy Russia if war were to break out between the two nations. The statement was made by David P., a former CIA director and four-star general of the US Army. Specifically, in the event that Russia uses nuclear weapons in Ukraine, the US would lead NATO in a coordinated attack to eliminate all Russian forces stationed on or around Ukraine. However, General Peach did not mention who would emerge victorious if the two most powerful military. Although in reality, a Russia-US war would undoubtedly escalate into a global conflict involving most of their allies. This question remains intriguing. Could the US single-handedly defeat Russia? What strategies does Putin have to break the wings of the American eagle? All will be revealed in today's video on Military Hotspot. Before diving into the content of this first episode of the Year of the Dragon 2024, the Military Knowledge team would like to wish our viewers a prosperous and healthy new year. We hope to continue receiving your support and engagement throughout this year, and many more to come. And now, without making you wait any longer, let's dive into the most obvious factor that could impact this clash of the century: the sheer scale of the Russian and US militaries. According to statistics from Global Firepower, the United States and Russia currently rank as the world's #1 and 2 in terms of military size. Specifically, the US has a total of 1,390,000 military personnel, including both active duty soldiers and non-active reservists in paramilitary units. The majority of them, more than 1 million, are part of the US Army ground forces. Additionally, the US Air Force and Navy are equally impressive, with a combined personnel of 600,000 to over 700,000 currently in service. Moreover, the United States has an extensive range of modern equipment, including 13,300 aircraft, 9,975 of which are combat-ready. This is complemented by 5,500 tanks, more than 300,000 ground vehicles, 11 aircraft carriers, 92 destroyers, and Ohio-class submarines capable of launching ballistic missiles. As a result, the US military is not only vast in manpower and resources, but also formidable across all combat environments, whether on land, in the air, or under the sea. Meanwhile, Russia currently has over 1.3 million troops, with 839,000 active personnel, 250,000 reservists, and a similar number of fighters in paramilitary organizations like the Wagner Group, which is essentially under Moscow's control. Although their overall manpower is not far behind the US when it comes to air power, Russia appears to be lagging significantly, with only 4,100 aircraft. Global Firepower estimates that only about half of these are combat-ready. Furthermore, the Russian aerospace forces employ just 250,000 personnel. The Russian military also has fewer ground combat vehicles, approximately half as many as their American counterparts. However, this advantage could be offset by their impressive number of tanks, totaling 12,556, along with 6,575 self-propelled artillery systems, the highest in the world, far exceeding that of the US. The Russian Navy boasts a substantial fleet with 598 warships, but it includes only 1 aircraft carrier, the Admiral Kuznetsov, and 15 destroyers. Additionally, while the number of submarines for both Russia and the US is comparable, Moscow has a significant advantage in terms of corvettes and minesweepers. From the statistics presented, it's clear that if a war were determined solely by manpower, the Americans would likely emerge victorious, given their overwhelming numbers. And if they were to have fewer personnel and resources, they would compensate with quality, such as in their naval forces. However, history and current events show that mere numbers of soldiers and equipment do not guarantee a victory. Otherwise, the US would not have suffered a humiliating defeat in Vietnam, and Russia would not have faced significant challenges in Ukraine. Therefore, while military scale significantly influences the outcome, it cannot be the sole determining factor in identifying the ultimate victor. Instead, to find the answer, we need to delve into other factors. On the ground, both Russia and the United States have similar approaches to organizing and equipping their infantry forces. For the United States, the backbone of the entire armed forces consists of light infantry squads divided into airborne, mountain, and air assault units. Each squad comprises 9 soldiers, led by a squad leader, and 2 fire teams. Each team includes a leader equipped with an M4 carbine, a soldier using an M49 machine gun, 2 soldiers armed with assault rifles featuring under-barrel grenade launchers, and a designated marksman. In mechanized infantry units, we see the inclusion of armored combat vehicles such as the Stryker and Bradley. Notably, a new generation of the Stryker is equipped with a powerful 30mm cannon. Moreover, the Javelin anti-tank missile has been making waves on the battlefield in Ukraine, achieving significant success against numerous Russian tanks. This gives the U.S. military a valuable mid-range option for neutralizing enemy tanks, which can be especially useful given that Russian ground forces heavily rely on tanks and armored fighting vehicles. If the Americans have mechanized squads, on the other side, Russia possesses mechanized infantry units typically equipped with BMP or BTR armored vehicles. As a result, this gives the Americans a slight advantage, or at least a parity in firepower against their adversaries. However, Russia completely outnumbers the United States in terms of the infantry it can deploy. This is because the Russian infantry has access to a trio of transport vehicle companies and a highly mobile airborne unit, allowing them to bring 25% more troops to the front lines than the U.S. According to national interest, theoretically, this gives the Russian army a high degree of tactical mobility on the ground. Compared to the U.S. light infantry, which primarily operates on foot, Russia can approach targets more quickly and deploy larger numbers of troops at those locations. Each team includes a leader equipped with an M4 carbine, a soldier using an M49 machine gun, 2 soldiers armed with assault rifles featuring under-barrel grenade launchers, and a designated marksman. Whenever a vehicle becomes inoperable for any reason, it means that 1/3 of the combat strength of a Russian squad is lost. In contrast, the number for the U.S. military is only about 1/4, as they have many infantry personnel who are transported by vehicles. Coupled with their superior numbers of armored vehicles and javelins, this will help limit the mobility of Russian infantry. Of course, this is a modern warfare period, and the infantry of both nations will not be fighting alone. Alongside them will be mortar, artillery, and tanks providing fire support. Therefore, the outcomes of ground battles will be determined not only by pure firepower, but also by tactics. However, when considering the quality of firepower, Russia holds a factor that could tip the balance of power: the RS-8 Sarmat missile, also known by some military experts as Satan II. This system began operational deployment in September 2023 and is said to have the capability to launch nuclear warheads farther than any other intercontinental ballistic missile of its kind. With a range of approximately 18,000 kilometers, according to Moscow, each Sarmat missile can carry up to 15 warhead. However, Washington has denied this, claiming that the maximum number is at most 10. Regardless of this dispute, the striking range of the Sarmat is what is truly concerning. 18,000 kilometers means that Russia could launch the Sarmat from almost anywhere within its territory to strike the U.S. Nevertheless, there is some reassurance, as it is certain that if either nation decides to go all in with nuclear weapons, the other will inevitably retaliate, leading to a scenario of if one dies, the other must die too, resulting in consequences that the entire world would have to face. However, if nuclear weapons are removed from the balance of power, it can be generally stated that the United States has a significant advantage in terms of troop numbers, equipment, and air force. At sea, the battle would be more balanced, with the U.S. having a larger number of destroyers, providing an advantage in open waters, while Russia's smaller warships would offer higher mobility in close quarters. Please feel free to leave your opinions in the comments section to discuss with others.